Hello and welcome to part one of our tarot lessons. So, as I said, there probably will be 8 parts to this. It all depends on how many cards we get through in each section. Aiming for around 10 cards in each lesson, so around 8 sessions should do it. So the tarot cards that we are going to look at are, of course, the traditional Rider-Waite tarot deck. I did was gifted something very beneficial for today. So it was very interesting how the idea for the sessions kind of came to be. Is as you may know, many of you may know, I am very drawn myself to the Akashic Tarot. Sorry about the green screen there. But the Akashic Tarot here is a very different variation on the tarot. It doesn't follow the exact format of the traditional tarot. There's only 62 cards in here, whereas the traditional tarot has 78. And this one, it still has 4 suits and a major arcana kind of set, if you will, similar to the tarot, but there's 8 cards in each suit, so it is a little bit different. Now, this is my preferred deck, and I always say go with your guidance, go with your intuition. If a deck calls to you, if you are drawn to a deck, then use it, you know? But I realised that I use this so often. As those of you who have had readings from me, especially video readings, will know that I use this as a base card even when I'm choosing other oracles to use with it as well. So this is more of a tarot deck rather than an oracle, so we'll explain a little bit about that, but it is not very in keeping with the traditional deck. The messages, the meanings of the cards are a little bit different, and as you guys know me, I'm very intuitive anyway, so I do use these very intuitively, and I was drawn to them very intuitively anyway. So yeah, it's all intuition with this deck with me. So I realised that because I am just always using this deck, that I kind of lost my connection, lost my knowledge a little bit with the traditional tarot. So I had this idea that I wanted to really get back in to the traditional tarot and just refresh my knowledge on the traditional tarot. And I was with my mother, and we were in a store called the Works. I don't know if that's like a worldwide thing or if it's only in the UK, but anyway, it's in the UK, and we were in there, and she pointed this out to me, this book. And at first I thought, I do readings all the time, I don't need that. And then I thought, hold on a second, this will be perfect for getting me back in to the traditional tarot. So I will just hold it up there. Like I said, it's from the Works. If you have a Works in your area, then you can purchase it. But if you don't, then I'm sure that it's probably sold online as well. And I will, if I find it online, I will post a link to it. I didn't think of that actually, but I will do that. I will rectify that. So I'm going to be loosely going with this. I'm not going to be just reading it word for word, of course, because there's no point in that. And I would like, for those of you who can make it to the live, to give your input. And even if you do watch on catch up, if you think of something that we didn't think of or that I didn't think of, still put a comment. Still comment even if you are, watching on catch up. I would still really appreciate that. But yes, so this book came very synchronistically and very beneficially to me. I feel really positive about it and great about it. I decided that I wouldn't do the whole book. I'm going to do it piece by piece. I'm going to do a piece, 10 or so cards before the week before the stream, so it's all fresh kind of in my mind, and I'm not going to completely fill in the book, so that any of your good ideas that you guys give can also go in it as well. As you can see, I will show you the full one. It has kind of lines for you to put your own things in, your own, interpretations of the symbols, keywords, and also some areas where you can draw. As you can see, I haven't done that. I'm not the greatest artist. But yes, so we're going to loosely work through this book together. We are going to, not go word for word, as I said, but do feel free to get your own one of these, or if there's any maybe better workbook or a workbook you're drawn to, or just have a notebook and take notes if you wish, because it's always a good idea to keep notes. So this is actually perfect, and I almost didn't buy it, but yes, I will link that below, because you may not see it very clearly. I know I'm trying my best to have good lighting here, but we've had a lighting issue this morning, but that's fine. So I just wanted to do that intro before checking the chat and before saying hello to anybody, so that I will cut that out and paste it in the beginning of each one, just so I don't have to kind of repeat it or anything like that, and just in case I forget as well, because hopefully people who do catch up will watch every one, especially if they're really invested in learning the tarot. But so what I've done so far, I've done the first 11 cards. And there's a reason for that, which I will go through, and we should be able to make our way through 11 today. So looking in the chat now, we have Miss Venus, Lalima, Jan and Leon. So hello and welcome. Thank you very, very much, guys, for coming. I know it's been difficult to find the time, and if it's only us four for today, then we may do the alternating idea that I had, where we may do a late one. That may not suit all of you, unfortunately, just to, give others a chance to have a live session, and then we can catch up every other one. So tarot workbook, yes. So if you did want to buy it or just take your own notes as well, that's great. So let's just go over the difference between the tarot and oracles, and then look at the variations on tarot. So the difference mainly between a tarot deck and an oracle deck. You guys are very familiar with Oracle. Oracle of the Unicorns, as you've seen on stream, and Romance Angel Oracle, as you've also seen on stream, and I'm sure you guys have your own Oracle decks as well. But just to explain how the tarot really follows a kind of format and set kind of meanings, where even when the illustrations and the theme is changed over different decks, still holds the same meanings basically. Whereas obviously an oracle deck, if you're creating your own oracle deck, you can go wild with the meanings, make up anything you want, or intuitively feel and channel anything you want. And yeah, you can just, you can have as many cards as you want in your own oracle. But in a tarot deck, usually it would stick to the same kind of 78 card kind of thing. But as we did show, 62 deck here, the Akashic Tarot. So you will really understand why I do need a refresher, because I'm so used to that deck. But I wanted to show you, so we're going to look at the Rider Waite. Oh, hold on. Leon? Hold on, actually I might be able to do this. I can't get my green screen. I can't get me here for some reason. Hold on, let me just see if I can. Where I have the actual tarot, so I'll show you what I mean here. Where I have the actual tarots to show on screen, I can't seem to get myself up here. So I have myself here, but once I go to the tarots, I'm not there. Yes, because it's two different things. So the one where I have the tarots on it, I'm not on. I'm only on this one that doesn't have the tarots for me to click, unfortunately. So I don't know how to get myself. Sorry. Sorry, guys. It does say main here, which I know is usually... Main is usually... Oh, do you know what it might be? I know what it is. I'm so sorry. It's where I am, there we go. Yeah, I had... Sorry, Leon. He's coming, I think. I fixed it! I fixed it! I fixed it! Yeah. Yeah, I had myself behind the background. So, yeah. Yeah, silly me. But anyway, where was I up to? So, yes. So, so I was just showing you the traditional kind of Rider-Waite tarot here. We have the Fool, which we will begin with, so we'll just show that one. When you have a tarot deck that has different illustrations, it usually will follow the same meaning. So this is my favourite tarot deck. It is the Goblin Market Tarot. Absolutely love it. It is this is one of the main reasons as well why I wanted to get back into the traditional tarot, because when me and Leon were in Glastonbury for the occult conference, we saw this in a shop window and I had to have it. And then I thought, I don't really use the traditional tarot though. And it's really encouraged me to get back to the traditional tarot. It's based on a very, very ancient, old poem and called The Goblin Market, and I just love it. I just love the little goblin illustrations, they're so cute. And this does follow, let me make sure I'm not lying here, I believe it follows the traditional tarot. I believe it, I mean it does with the suits, but I believe it follows them in terms of the actual number of cards as well. If I'm not mistaken, it does have the same number of cards. Yes, pretty sure it does. But either way, it does follow the suits. So let's look. So we have the Fool, as I have up here, and oh gosh, I didn't actually put these in order, so don't know if we will find him. We'll just see. Okay, well, here we have, I will show this one. It's not my favourite, but I'll show this one. So, our third, or number 3, tarot in the traditional one, jumping ahead here, would be the Empress. And in the, oh, that's still above me, isn't it? Still need to just put myself Oh no. Wait, why am I gone now? Oh god. Oh my gosh, honestly. And then there is the fairy queen there. So it's the same in terms of it's got the major arcana and it's got the suits, but they are slightly different in that their names, but their meanings are the same. So so the major arcana, which we're looking at today, the first 11 there, for example, the Fool, he is called the Fairy Wanderer, and they just have different names like that, but they are a reflection of the traditional tarot. And then the suits, so this is what I wanted to point out as well. In the traditional tarot, we have the pentacles or queens, swords, or I can't remember what else swords sometimes is called, so just bear with me. Should tell me here. Pentacles, swords, cups, and wands. Oh yes, so swords, wands, cups, and pentacles. Yes, that's right. Pentacles are sometimes called coins, and it told me in this book, swords are sometimes called something else as well, which I didn't know. I've only seen them as swords, wands, cups, and either pentacles or coins. But apparently there is a different variation on swords. But of course, in the Goblin Tarot, it's platters, crowns, cups, and wands. So we still have cups and wands, where you would normally have cups and wands, but then there's platters and crowns as well, just as like a little variation, which I think is really cute, because in the poem The Goblin Market, the goblins like vendors in the market, and they sell like loads of fruit and things, so that's why it's platters, and they're all holding like platters of food. And they're just so cute. But yes, so I just wanted to go over how even the tarot that does go on on the traditional format can vary in perhaps how it names the major arcana, and perhaps how it names the suit as well. But it would usually follow very similar meanings. So learning this will translate over any tarot deck that you have that uses the traditional format. But if you get oracle cards, of course, it's going to be different. But any tarot deck that you can get should be pretty similar. So I will stop now to read the chat. We'll stop now to read the chat. Just for a moment. So, hello, Miss Venus. So Miss Venus just got out of the gym, ready for a little learning session. Yes! Leon says need to go to the gym again. We definitely need to get some kind of exercise back in after Christmas. Nice to see you, Jan, Lima, and Miss Venus as well. Let's see here, because I saw a comment from Miss Venus that I did appreciate. I have my 6 tarot decks ready, so I would love to know which ones you have. And do they all, perhaps you may find out, during this, if they do follow the original kind of format very strictly or not, like the Akashic, where it still has suits and things, but it's 62 cards. So it'd be interesting to see if they all kind of follow it. Leon says can always watch back and comment questions if need be, and can make the later one. Yes, and as I said, guys, totally transparent. I am catching up myself on this. It's been probably longer than I care to admit of me really being, using the Akashic Tarot as my number one. So, although I have learned tarot in the past, this is going to be almost new to me anyway. So we're all learning together here. Miss V says, so, Leon, I don't look as glamorous as Venus though. And oh, stop it, your name is Leon, which is Spanish. In Spanish. Which is, oh, lion in Spanish, sorry. Yeah, Leon doesn't need loads of makeup, so you could argue that. Hello, Kidda. Hello. So, Kidda, hello and welcome. Hope you can stay with us throughout. Really nice to see you, as I was not expecting you. I was expecting the rest of you guys, but not expecting Kidda, so that's extra nice. Oh, wands, alternatively. Oh, battens. That's what I was thinking, sorry. I was thinking of battens. I wasn't thinking of swords being blades. But discs, yes, I've heard that as well. And staffs, I've heard that as well. So, see, refreshing my memory as well already. So, wonderful. So, really nice to have Miss Venus in here, especially for this first one, because I'm sure you can help me as well here. I will loosely refer to the book, but we will be doing our own kind of interpretations as well, because so the good thing about the tarot, so the traditional tarot is a really great way to learn because it does have that very kind of strict meaning to it. Where they all kind of have their own meanings that they kind of do mean, but at the same time you can always interpret the symbology as well. And if you have, like Miss Venus, a variety of different decks, then you can interpret the symbology differently. So this is where I still encourage people to be very intuitive, because I may be drawn sometimes to the Goblin Market tarot, and it may be drawn sometimes to the traditional tarot based on who I'm reading for, and that might be because a certain card that's going to come up is going to have a symbol that's going to trigger something in me that it may not in a different reading, so there's still this element of intuition and having your own kind of energy and input into it, whilst knowing loosely the meanings, So I still always recommend being intuitive, and if you get the Fool, but to you, I will talk over it a little bit more once we get deeper into the meanings, but if you were to draw a card and the normal meaning is, let's say, there's a chance meeting, like the Fated Meeting card in the Akashic Tarot. The Fated Meeting card in the Akashic Tarot usually points to a romantic partner, but sometimes it can point to a business partner, and sometimes when I draw it in a deck for someone, in a spread, sorry, for someone, I intuitively feel that actually it's the business partner with them and not the romantic. So we probably will look at spreads as well in this, but I don't think I've come across it yet. So of course a spread is just how you lay out the deck, how you lay out the cards that you draw. So a good way to just practice might be to do, which I would recommend if you're really seriously wanting to learn these meanings, is once you've completed all of the lessons, or even take the cards out that you have learned about for that week and just use them for now and keep adding them once you've learned them, pick a daily tarot for yourself, and not specifically to be your card for the day in terms of a fortune sense, but just to kind of test yourself, to give a meaning to it, test your memory, and then also test what you might intuitively symbolically pick from it. So I have highlighted some parts that I found a bit more, not more important, but bits that I did want to go over in this. So I will be going in and out of referring to this, but do look forward to you guys' input as well, like Miss Venus there. That's perfect, great. So when a reading has mostly, so yes, so major arcana are the, there's 22, if I'm not mistaken, major arcana cards, and then there is, um, 13 of every suit. Yeah, I think there's 13. There's 8 in the, no, there's not 8. There's 12 in the Akashic Tarot, so you will have to excuse me if I'm getting things wrong, but when we come to them, I will confirm. It's rarely going to be difficult for me in the beginning to get into it, but I will pick it up. So yeah, do just bear with me and be kind. I'm kind of learning to with you. Very refreshing my memory here. So so the major arcana will be the cards like this one where it just has a name. So it has the name and it's not the, so obviously the suit, let's say for example the swords suit, you will have one of swords, two of swords, ace of swords, king of swords, queen of swords, you know? So it's always of swords. So at the bottom of the, wait, this way, at the bottom of there, it will be like the 9 of swords. So they are the suits. And the major arcana will have names like this, and usually they're numbered as well. So yes, so when it says the major arcana, it just means those 22 cards that are named, those kind of you can sometimes look at them. So sometimes, I don't know if everybody does this, but in some readings, if a major arcana card is pulled, it's said to be something that's definitely going to happen. In, you know, when you're doing a actual fortune, sometimes people say the major arcana are the things that are definitely going to happen, and the suits, the smaller cards, are the ones that you possibly can change. So if you get a suit card that you don't like, you may change your outcome, but the major arcana is the set in stone things. Some people say that, but you kind of go with your own intuition and go with what you feel. But I will read through the little bits I've highlighted here before we get into the Fool. So when a reading has mostly major arcana cards, we know that we are connecting to the bigger picture. So yeah, you could take it like that it's the bigger picture, or you could take it that it's the things that are definitely going to happen. The bigger picture, I think this is more widely believed. So I feel that this book is very the traditional, very widely believed, you know, so we're going to get very basic and basic but very kind of, I don't know, strict view of the tarot here. So when a reading has major arcana cards, we know that we are connecting to the big picture. So big picture answers that we're looking for. These cards can give us inner truths and wisdom we have within ourselves as well. So the tarot does tell a story as it goes through as well. So yeah, I think that's okay. So, and then there it just says about examining the symbols. Like I said, we will still do that, even though we're looking at kind of strict meanings, we'll still also look at intuition. So we begin with the Fool. The Fool is the beginning of the journey. And the Fool, so what I will ask is first, why I do have some people here, I was worried I might be on my own, but can anybody give what you could give, what the Fool kind of reminds you of, what, you know, what you would think of the Fool, what you think the message of the Fool might be. And of course, if you already know this, then that's fine. If you say it, then that's fine. I don't, you know, you can say whatever you want. But yeah, what does the Fool make you think of? So even if you do know the strict meaning of the Fool, is there anything else that the Fool incites within you? You know, so any ideas here? I actually did want to do it this way, where I ask for a bit of interpretation before going into it, but I just didn't know if I would have anyone live, or have many live, shall I say. But yes, if you do have anything you know, so where it has on my book, keywords and symbols, what might you say if you were, you know, just doing the book on your own? Any keywords you might say. If my chat is too slow, then I may I don't know, I really do want it to be interactive, but I just don't want you guys waiting for too long. That's all. But I really do want it to be interactive, so let's see if we can get any. In fact, now that we're done with the intro, it will be pretty it will go a little bit quicker now. So I took 30 minutes of my intro, oh my gosh. But to be fair, it's a lot, you know, to begin with. It's a lot to go over the oracle and different illustrations and things like that. So Jan says leap of faith and taking a chance. And don't go away, and I know some of you will know it, but don't go away and Google it. So let's all kind of learn together. You don't have to get everyone correct, and there will probably be, if you have learned the tarot yourself in the past, there probably will be cards you know much more of, and ones that you've kind of forgotten a little bit and things like that. So don't worry about it being right, you know, because we are also looking at interpretations as well. So Jan says leap of faith and taking a chance, and Miss Venus says new beginnings, innocence, naive, carelessness, impulsivity, excitement, embarking on a journey, and yes, so Miss Venus has brought up something very interesting that I didn't mention in my massive intro, so I will also say that, but I want to so I'm going to take more notes of some of the things you guys say. As you will see, I've only written about 3 words myself because I want to learn with you and for you guys to give me some knowledge as well. So Jan said leap of faith, which I didn't write, and it's exactly, you know, how it looks in the cards as well. You know, he's on a cliff edge, so it's very leap of faith-esque, so that's a perfect phrase for it. So, but interestingly, yes, so what Miss Venus is saying here, so we'll show with the Goblin Tarot. So when a card is upright, it may have a particular meaning, and then when it is, if you draw it the other way, then it can have the opposite meaning to what it usually would have. So if it's positive when it's upright, it may have the shadow aspect, or if it's positive upright, it may have a negative meaning when it's upside down, and if it's negative upright, then it may have a more positive meaning when it's that way. And you don't always have to look at it in terms of drawing it the right way or the wrong way. Maybe you shuffle your deck and organise them and make sure they're all upright, or something like that, I don't know. You can be very broad and give both aspects if you want, both possibilities, but I tend to do it upside down is the opposite, meaning to the right way. So where Miss Venus is saying here, new beginning, innocence, excitement, embarking on a journey, they're what I would say for upright. And then where she has put a naive, careless, impulsivity, and impulsivity doesn't necessarily have to be negative, but you know what I mean. So I may say the more negative side of the Fool, if I pull it upside down. Or you can be very broad with it. If you want to give a very broad reading, you can say either way. So you can say, you might pull it and you might say, if you're not feeling anything intuitively, you might want to cover all bases, and you might want to say, you know, you are, you have quite a childlike innocence to you. You're very always up for a new adventure. You like to kind of go with the flow. You're well, not yes, you always like to go with the flow and things like that. But on the downside, you might sometimes be naive, you might sometimes be a bit impulsive, which in some times being impulsive might have served you well, but sometimes it might hinder you a little bit on your journey, and you might be someone who never quite, you're not very stable, you don't have a stable, you can rarely read into it. You can say, you might be someone who isn't very stable because you're always looking for the next thing, the next new thing, you're always taking a leap of faith, you're always, so you can rarely kind of, you can give a lot of information, or you can go very intuitive. Perhaps you do a reading for a person, and to you, this is telling you much more physically that they're actually going to be embarking on a new journey. So, like Miss Venus says, embarking on a new journey. Sometimes you get a really strong intuition, and you don't say everything. You rarely feel that. I don't feel this person's naive. I'm not feeling that. I'm feeling that this is very literal, that they're going to go on a new journey. So this is where intuition comes in, even when you learn the strict meanings, or the traditional meanings. Because sometimes I will pull a card like this and I will feel, I don't think this person's impulsive. I don't think that they're, anything that it means. I do literally think it means going on a new journey. Or sometimes I will say, yeah, it's a leap of faith that you need to take. You're not, perhaps you're a little bit too, things have to be there for you to really fully see and understand, and you're too safe, and you need to take a leap of faith. So you can learn the meanings and still be intuitive is basically what I'm getting at here. So the reasons, the things that you guys have said is really hit the nail on the head. You've got it right there. And Miss Venus says the white dog also represents to me like unconditional guide, or unconscious, that's trying to call your attention. Yes, and there is actually different, you may get a Rider-Waite deck and it might say the actual meaning that was supposed to have, but I think it was supposed to have a it was either innocent, or it was that the word she used there, unconditional. I think it might have been innocence traditionally, but yes, you can look at the dog. In some tarots you will see it doesn't have a dog, in some it does. But yes, so you can take that guide that's with it as well, that that thing it's always carrying through. Is it a guide? Is it an aspect of the self of the person that you're reading for? And she says the white flower in the hand represents innocence and good intentions. And I should have done more research on this, because to begin with, because there is a widely believed meaning for the dog, and I can't remember if it is innocence. I thought it was, but let me just Google that quickly, because I don't want to, when I'm saying the actual traditional meanings, I don't want to get them wrong. Interpretation is great, perfect, but I don't want to get, when I say the traditional meaning, I don't want to get it wrong, and I overlook that. There's also, as well, the little bag that he has as well. The idea that this person has such small belongings with them, and that's like kind of all they have. It further adds to this idea of always being up for an adventure, perhaps a traveller, like literally a traveller. And also it can be about being a minimalist as well, not having anything that really holds them down and ties them down. Oh, okay. What? So it says here a white dog yaps at the heels of the fool, warning him of the impending danger ahead. Um, so it's. I thought it was more about loyalty and innocence, but I suppose it could be, you know, the shadowed side, the upside down side of it is impending danger. So that is that aspect of where you're saying it's like a guide, because he, someone who is always up for adventure and always takes a leap of faith, is putting themselves in danger, you know? There's really this balance needed that the fool doesn't have. The fool doesn't really have that balance of, sometimes I'll take a leap of faith, and sometimes I'll go with the adventure, but sometimes I will, you know, build my home, or, you know, something like that. So the fool is a little bit too too unstable. He's too ready for anything, you know. So there isn't much stability with the fool. As we can see, he's on the cliff edge. So the Fool's actually my favourite tarot card. I do also love the Sun, but the Fool's my favourite tarot card, and I actually have been considering for a while getting a tattoo of the Fool, so let me know what you guys think. Should I get it? I was thinking just black and white on the on the back of my ankle. Let me know what you think. Do you think that's a good idea? Because I love the idea of the Fool, because for me the Fool's like, I understand the shadow side of the Fool, you know, being too naive, not settling down, all of those things. But the idea of always being up for an adventure, always being ready for like that new change, that new thing coming, you know, you can really stay in high positive energies when you're not fearing of change, and you always kind of accept that not everything is permanent. In fact, everything is temporary, and the next adventure could be, you know, a great one. And I love the Fool, and I've always really loved the Fool. So let me know what you think of that before we move on. But oh, sorry, I didn't read. Miss Venus says the Sun for me also represents inner child, so someone in infancy or early understanding of what's ahead. Yes, and it's interesting because it's kind of like there's a choppy sea below, but the sun is shining, and he's much more concerned about the positive side of it, the sun shining, you know, the sun's always shining to him. He's looking at the sunny shiny sky. He's not looking that he may fall off a cliff, and that the sea might be, oh, it's not sea, is it? It's mountains, isn't it? Okay, ignore that just in case that's mountains, but yeah, I'm not sure with that. But he's looking up at the shining sun. He's not looking at the fact that he may fall off a cliff. So he's always looking on the bright side, where you can't always do that. So so saying the inner child is right, because as we get older, it's, you know, it's really good to always have that inner child within you, but you can't always be in the inner child. You have to know when to tap into and when to not tap into it, which the Fool can't quite do. So an impulsive, but also has the fire to ignite change. We all need to be fools a little bit to get out of our comfort zones. The card reminds me a bit of the movie Hercules, when he discovers he is a semi-god, and he ventures out to find himself, singing a very empowering song. Yes, that's really interesting, and I actually haven't seen it. Haven't seen that movie, but sounds about right. Sarah, hello and welcome. Yes, new beginnings, absolutely. Absolutely correct there. So, yeah, you guys have given so much input into this, and I'm really, really loving the what you're coming up with here and the symbolism. So it does just go to show, yes, there are those typical specific meanings. So journeyers, open to the world's experiences, taking things as they come, and um and yeah, being very kind of a bit of a fool, for better or for worse. But as we can see here, yes, and hello and welcome, Sarah. So sorry, getting so wrapped up in the lesson, but very welcome to join us. Very welcome to give input. So nice to see you. Join us, and check out the upcoming streams as well, and join on whatever you wish to, and I love it too. Yeah, absolutely love it. So yeah, feel free to stay with us or pop in and out. And welcome to the community. Welcome to Secret Frequencies. So, do we still have Lalima, Jan, and Kida? Would either of you guys like to give any input into this? Or is there any part that perhaps it's already been mentioned but you rarely agree with, or is there anything that you would add before we do move on here? But perfect, really perfect suggestions here, really perfect explanations. It's exactly, I don't really need to go too much into the book here. We're really on top of it here. Lalima says, taking a leap of faith with innocence like a child. Yes! So combining, the things we're throwing out there, taking a leap of faith with the innocence like a child. And yeah, that's kind of the point with him, is that he does, whether you want to call it innocence or naivety, he does have that, and that is kind of, what's pushing him and giving him that energy and that fearlessness, you could say fearlessness. I don't know if I would stand on the edge of a cliff like that, but yeah, so that's really great. So I think you guys have really gotten the Fool down to a T here. So we will move on to the next one, but I think we did bring up some key points with the Fool, is that, there's a positive and a negative to each card, and you can choose to say the meaning based on, your intuition, or how you draw the card, or anything like that. But perfect, I think. And, really looking at that symbolism as well, the sun, the dog, the cliff, everything that we see, the little bag, as well, the rose, that's the thing about when you're reading cards as well, and when you're being intuitive, always, the cards are, any divination tool is a tool. That's what it is. It's a tool, and it's just a tool for your own gifts to come through. So if you're struggling, if you do a reading and you get to a part where you're struggling a little bit, look at those symbols, look at that, and really start to be creative with it and feel, am I drawn to anything here? Is any meaning that this may mean standing out to me? Because at the end of the day, intuition is a big part in it. We do have the intuition test this evening as well. The intuition test is coming up later on. So in 6 p.m. GMT, whatever that is for you. So if you do want to give your intuition a bit of a test there, a bit of a challenge, come to that, and you'll be intuitive tarot readers in no time. So we will move on to the next card. We have, so the Fool is number 0, so it's 0. So then we have the Magician, which is number 1. So so if you are taking notes, Miss Venus has put plenty enough for you to take there. And yeah, I'm really grateful. I hope Miss Venus can come on all. Yeah, because like I said, really refreshing my knowledge here as well. So I'm so grateful to you guys for giving your own input as well here. And if you don't have any suggestions, don't feel that you have to say anything, you can give as much input or as little as you wish. Don't worry about that. Just happy to have you here and happy to be a part of your journey. So, the Magician. So, does anybody want to perhaps give some ideas about what the Magician might represent? And if you do know, no, I will leave it. We'll see if what everyone says. Yeah. So just going to take a moment to say thank you to the members. My nose. Oh gosh. Okay. There we are. So Miss Venus says, one of my favourite cards. I feel connected to it now more than ever. That's perfect. And actually, I will show you this then. I did bring this down. Prepared that I may show it. It's what the green screen ruins these things, but my mother got me this as a birthday present last year. She really surprised me with that one. It's like a little cute box with the Magician on, so really love that. It's actually not big enough to fit. Actually, my Rider-Waite tarot might fit in here. Typical me trying to fit my Acacia ones in there. Okay, so Jan says, trying to manifest something, willpower and ability to try and bring something into fruition. Sarah says the infinity symbol. Yes, very good. Picking out the symbology that we see is always beneficial because it's always going to give us, if you are stuck, if you go away after you've learned all of them and try to do a reading, then that's what's going to kind of help you if you get stuck, is the symbology. So perfect, infinity symbol. And Sarah also says the ability to manifest anything out of nothing. Okay, so we are seeing the manifesting side of the Magician. So we'll just point out the symbols of the Magician since we're looking at them, which are oh yeah, Miss Rena should just say that that's what I was going to say. Oh no, that's not what I was going to say, sorry. Oh yeah, I will read that in a second, but so the Magician has the Magician is the first card where we see the symbols that make up the suit of the deck. So we have the sword. He has a sword. He has a wand. He has a cup, and he has a pentacle or a coin. So I'm going to have to keep reminding myself. I will try to use the same swords, wands, cups, pentacles to not be confusing when it, to say batons or whatever. But it's the first one where we see all of the symbols that make up the suits, which I suppose isn't difficult since we've only looked at the Fool so far. But yes, so he has a sword, a wand, a cup, and a pentacle, which are the 4 suits that we mentioned earlier on. So we can look in a little bit at what they might represent equally, but I will read your comments here. So you guys are really on it. So yeah, I don't think I need the book, but I just thought it might help me if I got a bit stuck. So the infinity symbol, ability to manifest anything, yes. The magician has all of the elements of creation on the table. He is the master of the spirit world, pointing up, and of the material world, pointing down. Yes. So yes, that's the symbology of the pointing up and pointing down. So perfect there. Yes, I know. I started to read your comment and thought that it wasn't what I was going to say, but it was. So yeah, I should mention. So swords is air, wands is fire, cups is water, of course, and pentacles is earth. So yeah, Miss Venus is correct there. So sorry. Next week, Miss Venus will be teaching, and I will be listening. But yeah, exactly right. I was even literally looking at it here where I've written it here, and still just didn't click there. So thank you very much. Yes. So, but just in case you guys do want to note that swords is air, wands is fire, cups is water, and pentacles are earth. And we will look a little bit more into why that is when we get to the suits, perhaps. I don't want to give too much away just in the one lesson. I want to kind of go as we go and not try to get ahead of myself too much. So yeah, there is, but looking at like each suit having an element becomes important when you're reading the cards and when they're in a spread, but I don't want to get ahead of myself, so just going to leave that for now. So yes, the magician. So the magician, it's like you guys have said, manifesting and all of that, but of course as well it's number one. So we also have the tarot telling a bit of a story. Number one, the beginning of our understanding. So beginning, you know, so it's interesting because you can really put it, you know, like someone has this ability to manifest, they have everything at their fingertips, but it's very much about the, so yeah, I'm just going to read this because I don't want to trip myself up here. So it teaches us to focus on our intent, so like you guys are saying, manifesting, and gives us the beginning of our understanding. The magician is reflecting on the meanings of the wands, sword, cup and pentacle, and asking us to do the same, which I just didn't want to get ahead and give the and give too much about the suit yet, so just bear with me, sorry about that. I just don't want to be repeating myself too much, and want you guys to come back. So he wants to take in all meanings of the symbols, the spiritual, the earthly, the negative, the positive, the above and the below. So yeah, I feel like I couldn't put it much better than this does. So above his head we find the infinity symbol, pointed out there by Sarah. We know that we are increasing our skill and our understanding. So there is this idea that we have the ability to connect with infinite knowledge. So there is an essence of it being the beginning of something because it's number one. So when you get the magician, you're not necessarily going to say to this person like, you can manifest anything you want. You're amazing, you can do it all, you're completely accomplished, you know. It's not really about that, but it's about this ability, you know. This person has the ability to have infinite knowledge. They have everything at their fingertips. It's all of this capability and this ability that they have. We are guided when the magician is pulled in a reading, we know that we are increasing our skill and our understanding. We are guided to new heights of wisdom and confidence. The magician helps us to transform ourselves into the next version of ourselves and shows us all possibilities of that person. So, yeah. So, upgrades, I've put as my, when I was doing my keywords, upgrades, balance with the above and below, and learning. So, it's not so much that, you know, it is the ability to manifest anything, like Sarah said, but it's not so much being all able to do that yet. It's very much about the beginning of something, in terms of, like I said, upgrades. So it doesn't mean that this person's only just realising they can manifest anything. They may be, you know, maybe someone like you guys who are already, you know, you already know a bit of the tarot, if not a lot of the tarot. You already know about manifesting. You are honing into your abilities already. So it's not necessarily to say that they are all the way along or that they're right at the beginning, but is about a new kind of element to it. So there is a beginning aspect to it, but it can be upgrades. And not like the Fool, which would be just new beginnings in general, but it can be upgrades. So you can't get the Magician either end. So you can get the Magician when you're literally a master magician and you're just learning something new. You can get the Magician when you're first coming to the realization that you do have everything at your fingertips. So upgrades, balance, and learning, I have put as my keywords, but I'll read your comments here. Sarah, you have everything you need. Yes. So it's not always about being completely capable and knowing everything yet, but having everything you need. Yes. Lalima says, can magician mean manipulation and or manifestation? Yeah, so what are we thinking about the downside of the magician? If we, to me personally, the downside of the magician, if I drew the magician upside down, I would probably say it was kind of being knocked out of your power, kind of stepping out of your power or having your power kind of taken away a little bit, something like that. The manipulation, I mean, I suppose you could read it in that way. And don't forget, you're using your intuition as well. So if you get the magician, but you feel that this is, when you pick it, you feel that you're being drawn to this is a dark magician, this is a dark person, you can go with that. So it's all about also interpreting yourself and having those ideas as well. So, you know, I might draw it for Miss Venus, and I might say you're getting upgrades at the moment. I might draw it for some other person, and I might think, you know, yeah, there's someone who's using magic in a negative way towards you. You know, this magician person has powers and abilities, but they're manipulating you. So you could read it in that way if you intuitively felt that is who he represented in that moment. So yeah, don't worry about being too strict with the meanings if you have a strong intuition that it means something else for that person. But do learn the meanings to have that basic knowledge, basically. So does anybody else have any idea for downside of magician if you drew it upside down, or if you were feeling particularly negative, that it had a more negative meaning? What would you say? So like I said, falling out of your power, being kind of knocked from your power. What would you guys say? So we also have manipulation there. Miss Venus says also interpreting the cards around it right. So if you get the Magician and the Devil as a response to... If you get the Magician and the Devil as a response to, are they doing negative work against me? Yes, absolutely. So we will touch on in this lesson cards together, I believe. I think we do. Or it may just be comparisons. But okay, so I will just touch on it now, just in case it doesn't here. But I literally did this like the other week. But yes, so like Miss Venus is saying that if you get two cards, if you ask a specific question and you get two cards in a row like that, you can interpret it like that. And then if you're drawing, so we will look over different spreads that you can use. I will talk about some spreads that I use, and again, like she says, asking a specific question, you might just draw one or two cards and just interpret them how they correspond together. So let's say, for example, with the two cards we just learned now, if I asked, or if I just thought, okay, I'm going to pull two cards for myself, and I got the Fool and the Magician, it may be telling me that I am very new in my manifestation abilities, and and perhaps I am, even with the Fool, with that kind of leap energy of the Fool and not really looking where he's going, perhaps I might interpret it that I think that I am more of a magician than I am. Rarely, I'm brand new to it, but I think I'm not. So, how you draw the cards together does play a role, and we will look at that further along. But also, if you guys did really enjoy the lessons and you wanted to, we could do a few examples as well. Maybe even on the video calls, further down the line, once we've covered all the cards on the video calls, we could do some practices. So where I could do a reading for someone and then someone else could do a reading, or we could kind of give input into how we feel the cards might correspond together. We will do some of that in these streams, but if you guys wanted to do a tarot reading video call, it will be further along when we've done more lessons, but you're very welcome to do that. We could do that. So, yes, so Miss Venus says, I need help with reading combinations. Okay, great. So, this book is, as far as I'm aware so far, it's very basic. But I didn't want to get ahead of myself, so I did only look at the first 11 so far. When I'm doing the next 11 cards, I will skip ahead a little bit and see what this book says, because I will just stick through the book for this course that we're doing here, but we will go anything it doesn't cover, or anything that perhaps it does cover but we want more practice on or more in depth on, we will do, and we will do that. So if it doesn't go too much into combinations or spreads, I will just do that myself for you guys. Yeah, so we'll do that. So okay, so I think we do understand the Magician a little bit here. Upgrades, balance, having the ability to manifest, having that ability to have infinite knowledge. Because I'm reflected, I can never know which way to point on here, but yes. So having that infinite knowledge ability with the infinity symbol there, the above and below, the heavens and the earth, it is quite a broad card because of that, all of the suits on there, all of the elements, and all of that. So it's quite an abundant card, and I tend to take it in quite a positive light, but always go with your intuition, and always go with if you feel it's different when you draw it the other way as well. So Miss Venus says, how about asking, how does my partner feel about me? And we get the Magician and the Fool. Would that mean he feels positive about starting a new relationship with you? Yes, so it could be, if you get the Fool and the Magician, Of course, they're two. So we do have to think when they're major arcana cards that above their numbering as well in the journey. So they're the very first cards in the journey. So it would probably be in the beginning of a relationship that you would draw them. Yes. It probably would be in the beginning of a relationship that you would draw them, and yeah, you could take it like it's they're they're enjoying the kind of new beginnings and all of that, you know. You could also take the innocent side of the fool as well is quite nice because although innocence can be lead into naive, it's also you know the fool card doesn't really give me cheetah energy, although he's always up for the next new thing. So getting the fool, I wouldn't necessarily say he would cheat, but there could be some commitment issues with the fool because he's always looking for the next new thing. He gets bored easily, and he's always going to that next thing, always looking for something new. So yeah, a little bit careful if you get the fool, but the magician. So yeah, that new kind of energy with the fool, new adventure and everything like that, and the magician. Yeah, it could be seeing. Sorry, just reminding myself. I blab on, so reminding myself what you actually said. Feels positive about starting a new relationship with you. Yeah, he sees a lot of potential. He sees infinite possibility. So yeah, the magician, I would say, is a bit more positive to get in that scenario than the fool because it could show some commitment issue. But yeah, what you're saying, and it does depend on how new as well because the fool. Yeah, because they're quite different in the sense of the fool being that kind of new beginning, and then the magician being that kind of embodying all of the elements, being very, very balanced and stable. So the magician's very balanced and stable. So yeah, you could take it as if it's very, very new in the relationship, I would take it as a positive. But if you're getting it after, you've been seeing each other for a very long time and the fool's still coming up, then I may have some kind of worry. But if it's very beginning, if it's more beginning, then I would take it as positive because of how much positivity the magician has within him. So yes, it's all. So this is where you see how complex the tarot can get because you're looking at how early on you're asking the question, and yes, the combinations together as well. So let's. So this is interesting, and if you guys do want to give any. Want to look at any combinations, especially if we're done. So we do have quite a bit of time available here, so we should be okay. If I do have to finish, I will let you guys know. But if you do want to, after we've looked at the first 11, if we have time, I could maybe say like two of them, and you could say what you would feel if they were drawn in combination, if that would help. So we could look at that. But let's move on to number two. Sorry for now. But yes, if we get through them all and we have enough time, we'll do a couple of combinations and see how we feel there. So the Empress. So we have the Empress here. Oh, I've done the wrong. No, that's me. I've turned over. Yeah, the High Priestess. It is right. I've done the right one there. So the High Priestess. Okay. So, what are your thoughts and ideas about the High Priestess? Any ideas, guys? And yeah, please, just a little bit of input for anyone who is in. If you guys are still in, well, like I said, don't let me pressure you into giving input. But if you can't think of anything here, do let me know. There are some reasons why I feel quite a resonance with the High Priestess as well. Um, and I will come to that when I say it. But intuition, psyche, subconscious, meditation. Very intuitive, third eye, but the High Priestess is also secretive / hidden. So yes, so intuition being the key word that you both say here, is spot on. Um, Jancy's negatives could be like not listening to your intuition or guides. Yeah, so if you drew her upside down, perhaps you could say out of touch a little bit. So divine feminine energy of receptivity and wisdom. Yeah, these are great. Yeah, these are great. So, yeah, just waiting. I don't want to get ahead of you guys because you guys are I really appreciate the input, and I do think you guys are doing really great here. Ooh. Okay. So the High Priestess holds the wisdom of the spiritual universe. She has a seat of power in a temple surrounded by symbols that indicate her wide breadth of knowledge. So if we draw her in a reading, we can be comforted by her strength and intelligence in spiritual matters, knowing that it is directed through her from higher powers. So her knowledge is directed through her from spiritual powers or higher powers. So, but the interesting thing that I like about the High Priestess, she knows the mysteries of the world, and while she may not share them directly, she'll offer you guidance. The strong pillars on either side of her place her securely on the earthly plane, whilst her headdress and colours are more ethereal, showing us her spiritual connection. She encourages you to trust your intuition. She wants you to embrace it. Through her, we realise there is reason in the randomness of the universe. So what I really like about her is where it says here that the spiritual the kind of intelligence and the knowledge that she has is channeled I can't speak. It's because I'm trying to read this at the same time while also trying to summarize it. I don't want to go too much off the book, but this is where I'm getting at here. So she knows the mysteries of the world, and but she may not share them directly. She'll offer guidance. So it's kind of like saying she has a high connection. She has a connection to the higher powers. She is a channel. She has connection to guides, angels, whatever it is. But she doesn't just want to just share them with you and say that she is like this almighty being that's going to just tell you everything. She wants you to use your intuition. She'll offer you guidance, but she wants you to use your intuition. And that's what I really like and take from her. So don't think I'm calling myself a high priestess, but I like that, that she does have that higher connection. She recognises that she has that higher connection, which, you should have that kind of confidence in your connection and your abilities, but also not kind of sit on a throne and say, come to me, I have the answers. She's encouraging you to use your own intuition, but giving you guidance, which is what I really want to try to do, I want to give guidance where I can, but I do want to encourage people to strengthen their connection with their guides and strengthen their own intuition, which is what she speaks about here. So that's why that's what I resonate with. Not that I'm an amazing high priestess or anything like that, but trust. So my keywords I've got in here that I wrote are trust intuition, a reason for everything. So what the end line where it said, through her we realise there is reason in the randomness in the universe. So there's a reason for everything. Sometimes things may seem random, they may seem unguided, they may seem strange, but there is a reason for everything in the bigger picture. Guidance from higher wisdom as well, and intuition. So intuition's definitely the key part in this reading. It is the key part in this reading, and what I tend to see as well when I draw this in a reading, a lot of the time I will see that this is sometimes the person I'm reading for, but sometimes it's a different person who will help them in some way indirectly. So it's this person that is going to give you some knowledge in some way, it's going to help you in some way. There may not seem to be a reason for why she steps in or why she does what she does, but it has a greater meaning to it, and she's really going to aid you in some way. So sometimes I take it to be... So remember, when you're reading for people as well, the card doesn't always have to represent them. It can represent a person in their life path. But yeah, I really like what you guys are saying and agree with what you guys are saying. And Jan gives that negative side as well, not listening to your intuition or guides. Miss Venus says, lots of connections to the water element. At her feet, her robe is very watery, and the moon is huge here, so she is deep and in total control of her emotions. Yes. So moon symbolism as well, emotions and sometimes subconscious as well. So yes, and water, emotions. Water's very symbolic of emotions a lot of the time. So let me just see if I would point anything else out here. But do give me any more negatives you might find if you pull this upside down, or anything that you do feel might be a bit negative about this card. You will learn as you go through this, or you probably already know, that some cards have less negative meaning. So some cards you're not going to find too much negative with it. Whereas some cards are much more, much bigger in what they can mean negatively. Whereas like Jan says, the negative from this could just be disconnection from intuition or disconnection from guides, or not listening to intuition, which isn't great and it's not what we want, but the guides and the intuition are there. It would just kind of point you to listen to it more, do your practices. It's not a really negative thing that's coming on your path. It's just guidance to put more focus into an area. Do you know what I mean? So a negative can sometimes be just guidance to a certain area, focus more on this, whereas some negatives can be, this could actually be big. And Jan says, maybe it can mean someone is keeping something hidden from you. The hidden in this, you could say that, and like I will always say, do go with your intuition. So when I'm asking for negatives here, or upside down meanings, I am sometimes in the cards that are generally more positive in their meaning, looking just for you to exercise your symbolism, your how you would read things symbolically, and how you may feel. So you may draw this card and you may get a bit of a, ooh, this, it's not typically a negative card, but it feels a bit negative for me. So don't forget that your intuition will always guide you, and a card that is positive may feel a bit more negative. But yes, this card generally, it would be more of a guidance than a negative. So in the way that I was saying, where it could represent a person in your life path, it may be, you know, there is this person that's going to help you. It may be indirectly, you may not understand that what they're doing is help, but at the end of the day it will be helpful. The guidance there could be, you know, don't discount this person, don't overlook this person, don't overlook the divine guidance of this. So it's not really that it's negative, but it's just a bit of guidance. Look out for this, you know, look out for your intuition, you know. So it's not negative, but it is trust your intuition a bit more. Your guides are trying to connect with you, that kind of thing. So yeah, there are cards that are much more positive in general. So yeah, just thinking if we would pick anything more about this one. Yes. So where Miss Venus says you're not supposed to know now divine timing, yes, absolutely. And hidden isn't always necessarily bad if you're not ready for something yet, like some knowledge or something. It's not. That's how I feel more with this card, is that the things that are hidden are, if it is an external thing that's hidden, it is more about that divine timing kind of thing. It is more about you're not quite supposed to know this yet. And a negative could be hidden motives or doubt in your own intuition, clouded insight. Yeah, there could be hidden motives, yes. And it could even be that, you know, because sometimes people do have ulterior motives. So where I'm saying that it's an external person who's going to help you, maybe they have an ulterior motive, they're actually, you know, using you maybe, but the path that they take you in turns out to be more negative down the path. So yeah, there's so many ways you can look at cards, but yes, you could point out something being hidden here, but I think that there's a good balance in this card between like the earth and the spiritual, the earthly and the spiritual, you know. And yes, I would definitely say trusting intuition, understanding that everything happens for a reason. So sometimes you would draw this card with, you know, because don't forget, if you do go down the path of doing readings as a job, even if it's just on the side, you know, people come to you for readings when they're not in the greatest place, usually. Not all the time, but the majority of people are struggling in some way. So they might be, you know, it's not always like everything's terrible, but they're either feeling lost or they're feeling a bit down about something, and they want some hope, they want some insight, they want some guidance. You know, you will notice that if you go down that path, that most of the people who do seek you out, there's something a bit troubling. So yeah, sometimes it's just that they're lost. They rarely don't know which direction to take. They're not necessarily in a negative place, but they're really lost. And this card, being everything happens for a reason, could rarely be, you know, sometimes phrases are very generic, and sometimes you might not. I always feel like kind of an aversion to saying generic phrases to people, like everything happens for a reason, but sometimes we need to hear that from someone else. Sometimes we do need that said to us, you know? So if someone is going through a difficult time and this comes up, you know, you could simply just feel, you know, you need to trust your intuition a little bit more. You're not going with your intuition as much as you should, or your guides are trying to talk to you and you're not quite getting it. But, you know, what the things that you're struggling with, everything does happen for a reason, and that's what, you know, your guides are really trying to tell you, that everything happens for a reason, and that you may not realize why these kind of random or negative things are happening at the moment, but the bigger picture will be revealed to you further down the line. So, you know, you could say something like that. Miss Venus, I've gotten this card before, like, you're not supposed to know exactly when. Trust, it's coming. Yes. So divine timing, like Miss Venus said, divine timing can come up here as well. And yeah, and everything happens for a reason as well. Yeah. So I think we've covered quite a good amount with that. If you are ready, we will move to the next one. So let's look at this one. We have the Empress. So keywords for this, or how you feel about this one. Okay, this is Miss Venus. So I'll just write that down. I'll just write keywords Miss Venus. When it comes up in a reading, I'll say, oh, Miss Venus is coming into your path. So, but yes, I do agree. I'm just joking around, but yes, I do agree. There is very. I know we have the Venus symbol there, but there is traits from Miss Venus within this card, and I'm sure within all of you guys. But I do feel that. So we have strong feminine energy, desirable, and queen. Okay, so strong feminine energy is good. Desirable, yes. If this person is, you know, this is the love reading for a guy, and Miss Venus is coming into their path, then very desirable, yes. But yeah, so I do like this one. I want to try not to read too much from the book, but I will just say, let me see here. So brings with her all the beauty of nature, security and peace, graceful and confident, taking her place in nature, at once a part of it and standing out from it. So being a part of nature and standing out from it. How to be fruitful in our endeavours, fertility that can be of the body or the mind as well. So when we get like a fertile card, a fertility card, can be you know, for someone who may be having a child in the near future or trying for a child, you know, positive news there, positive omen. But also it can be that, you know, fertility of ideas, so that, you know, someone who can, how to say it, like, have some very good ideas and have, a creative kind of mind, someone who can invent things or create things, so fertility, creative energy. So it could be the creative kind of mindset as well. So not not fertile physically, but fertile mind, creative kind of person. Abundance and success. Crown of stars, celestial bodies, showing us that she's not only of the land, but also connected to higher wisdom. So don't forget, when we have symbols, so this is, looking into symbolism, we are looking for, as we move, we are looking for things like the stars, moons, anything that might be celestial, could be higher energies, higher powers, guides, things like that, and things that are very land type, so like trees, flowers, could be very earthly, very fruitful in a more earthly sense. So we are looking for symbolism like that. Yes, and serenity and peace, again, is bringing up serenity and peace. So very peaceful energy, peaceful being. So I know I jumped ahead with the symbols there, but let me just see what you guys have said here. In your own power, yes. So yes, if you're getting it for yourself or for you feel it's for the person you're reading for, in your own power, yes, you could say that. Don't forget that sometimes the cards can be someone else that's coming into the path. Mother represents pregnancy, creation energy, yes. So the mothering, nurturing energy when it comes through in a card can be very literal, mother, children, birth, but can also be creative energy as well. Miss Venus says she is associated with Taurus because of all of the earthly energy. She represents Mother Earth too, yes. I'm a Taurus, so this card is close to my heart, and it's a lovely card to represent you. And also, she has the crown of stars, so she's very celestial like you as well. Apologies to Summit there, but thank you guys for helping out there. So I did talk through a lot there, but did anybody have any other keywords they wanted to say? Or is there any way that you may feel this to be negative? Is there any way that you feel that you may feel this to be negative if it comes up for you in a reading? I mean, maybe if you weren't hoping to be pregnant, it could be negative, but yeah, it's because it's so when it's a very positive card, I will just kind of like pry, see if you guys can think of anything that might be a bit negative here with her, or like Miss Venus said as well, if we're drawing two together, if you have this one with a more negative one, could there be a downside of this lady? Or just any other thing you might like to add, because I do think we've really kind of covered her there, but putting her into a reading, so if it's for you, could be the fertility thing really stands out to me in terms of that creation energy, and that higher power and higher wisdom as well. And depending on who I was reading for, I could, how connected I am to them and how comfortable I am with them as well, to think about that. If a celestial energy does come up in a card, do I feel any starseed energy or anything like that as well? So just more indication about focusing on your intuition as well. What I would say, if you are going to do reading for people, monetary wise, people you don't know, you do have to be very mindful of people's belief systems. So if I don't know someone and I don't know that they're into starseeds, or I'm not sure of their religion, I will be very careful with my words and what I say, and I might say something, that's not too definite and not too kind of prying, to test them and see where they are with it. And as I always say as well, it's always how we interpret things. So some people interpret, some people would interpret what I interpret as a star seed or a star or ET as an angel, and maybe they're in the right. Yes, so that's a good point that Miss Venus brings up here. If she was upside down, or you felt her in a negative way in any way in the reading, I don't know if I would particularly say loss of. Well, yes, actually, because she is abundance and success. So if she was inverted or she was in a negative sense, loss of power would be directly negative to that, because she's abundance and success. So yes, and Miss Venus here saying creative block, yes. So because she has all of this creation energy, if she's upside down or you feel she's negative, it could even be infertility, creative block, scarcity, yes, and overbearing mother, yes, because who does the card represent? So it's always worth looking at that, because if she represents your if you're a man, or even a woman who is with another woman, she could represent your partner. But if she represents your mum, then yeah, there could be a more negative side of that, overprotective. If she's representing the person's mother, then you don't really want their mother to be too nurturing, when there has to be a distance once you get to a certain age. So yes, absolutely overprotective, perhaps even manipulative in a sense, yes. And as well, because she has that higher power as well. So higher power tends to be read in a positive way, but having a higher power over someone can be negative, So yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You guys are correct there. Perfect. Great. Great input. And it's really helping me, because like I said, I'm not used to these anymore. Absolutely not. You can see me reading the book here. So your input, like overbearing mother, I would not have thought of that if I stared at the card for a good few minutes there in silence. Right now, I definitely don't think I would have come to that. So so thank you guys for your input as well. Yeah, really great. I'm feeling really positive about getting back into the swing of things with the traditional tarot. So what might be nice as well, if we want to keep going with with this, like I said, looking at combinations, but also perhaps in some streams like this, or perhaps in the video call at sometimes, we could choose a tarot, a different tarot that still, you know, corresponds to the tarot, or even an oracle if we wanted to, and we could talk about the illustrations, and maybe if it's a tarot that one of you guys has, we could talk about the illustrations and do some, you know, because I think that symbolism symbolism helps with your intuition when you're reading for yourself as well. So that could be a good, you know, way to prolong our tarot journey and our tarot lessons. So that's perfect. I think you guys have done really well with that one. So let's move on to the Emperor now. So we could do that, and we could maybe vote on our next tarot deck to look into or something like that as well. So we have the Emperor now. So yes, Leon, I read your message and I agree as well. Yeah, thank you. So so the Emperor, anything that stands out to you about the symbolism or him or what you know of the card? It's number 4. Okay, so Miss Venus says right away someone who is very stern. Jan says strong masculine energy, very strategic, and mind over heart. Sorry. So yeah, so we're definitely feeling the assertiveness, the protectiveness of him. Strong-willed in his throne, empowered, hot-tempered, protective, assertive over his power, structured. Yeah, structured, probably a good one there. The thing that I find very interesting in this one is so there is he's a ruler, so of course he's a ruler. He's in a seat of power. He has power. He's in a seat of power, and he's a ruler. But he also, if you can see on the picture, is wearing armor, which shows that he has fought for his position in power. So this isn't someone who has been born into a position of power. This is someone who has fought to gain that power and who still fight to keep it. So there's a big element in this card about the challenges of getting to a stage of power. So someone who, if you get this for someone, you may say you have like really strong potential and you have this ability to be in this high position, but it's not going to be easy. There's going to be challenges, going to be difficult. There is no escaping hard work on this path. So that's the things that stands out most about this card to me. But yeah, what you guys are saying is totally right. The strong masculine energy, the protectiveness, and that there is definitely room for more negative interpretation in this card. With that as well, with that challenge, with that fight, with that struggling to get to where he is, there is this idea of defensiveness as well, and fear of a loss of power as well. If you've worked hard to get your power, you will fear losing it, and you may be very defensive. So, he's wearing his armour, he may be defensive. Miss Venus says the contrast of the colours in the card. Red skies, Mars equals Aries, ruler planet, which is the planet of energy and conflict. And dry mountains, devoid of emotion, more earthly, solid. Yes, and we haven't looked too much into colour in this deck, but yes, you can do that, and you can take symbol from that as well. Combination between fire and earth. So we'll just see what else we have in the book, but feel free to keep going with your interpretations, and I will catch up with that. Secure ruler, protection and ambition. Security, like you guys have said. Confidence in our decisions and our power. So if you were getting this as someone else in the deck, or if it was for the person you were reading for, there could be a lot of confidence in their decisions and confidence in their power or ability to get to that power. So this isn't really, perhaps with the Fool you might not see too much confidence. It's more I don't know, just going with the flow and not too much like kind of ambition or confidence, just kind of like in the middle maybe, but there's confidence in this card. Authority. May sit before subjects. So speaking of the authority in the work sense, so like I said, working for their position, to be in that higher position of power. So this person's likely to have people beneath them in some way, employees or something like that, Earthly matters. Authority on earthly matters. So yes, Miss Venus, very correct here, that this person is not too much in the spiritual realm. This is a very earthly realm person. So where we saw the Empress, she had the stars, the celestial bodies in her card. This is much more of an earthly figure. And if this represents someone else in the person's reading, so it's not them, it might be a teacher, father figure, or something like that, you can consult them in decision making as well. So, like I said, people often come when they need, come for a reading when they're unsure of things. So this may represent someone who they can trust to help them make a decision as well. Yes, it says here, your authority may not be easily won, but have confidence in it. So, not easily won. Courageous in your ambition. Yeah, be courageous in your ambition. Yeah, working for the man, yeah. So not easy success, competition, protective, yeah. So if we were to look, I think you guys did pull some more negative meanings for this. So yeah, Stan, if this is someone, if this represents someone else in the person's reading, it could be that they have a very strong authoritative figure who is, again, like Miss Venus said with the Empress, overprotective, overbearing, are they too protective? Sorry, just my leg going numb there, just stretching out. And we also had devoid of emotion. Yes, so not too much spiritual connection, and perhaps not too much emotion as well. This could be, like, yes, like a bit of a stern person. Guarded in emotions, yes. The protectiveness, protective of their emotions, defensive people, yes. Stubborn, yes, absolutely. And you could also say all work and no play. So this could be, you know, if this was the person coming in as your like next partner or something, do you want that? Do you, this person's obviously going to be very stable in their work, going to be very, probably have a good job and all of that, but are they too work focused? Do they not have enough fun for you? So there's, even though the person might not be negative at all, it might not be right for you, if you want a bit more fun. And Miss Venus says, this is a man who will be the provider financially, but kind of cold emotionally. Yes. And this is where, as well, the combinations of cards come in, because if you were getting that alone for the person, then yes, I would say yes. But if you were getting a couple of cards for the person, then that could represent their work life. Then maybe they get, if you got the Emperor and the Fool as your partner, then the Emperor could be their work life. It could be a balance of that work and then that play. Not very likely to happen in that combination, but just explaining how, not to ignore our combinations as well when we're thinking about these, even though we're not doing the combinations yet. Leon, if you can hear me, can you just put the heating on again, please? It's a little bit... I was boiling when I got down here, but it's a little bit cold now. I know he works on his game while he's up there as well, so I would just message him in case he's distracted. I can find him. Gosh, I have so many messages, I can't find him. They always want to be right, yes. This could be as well. It could be someone who, they're too serious. They're just too serious. They might not be able to let their hair down. Okay. Oh, thank you, Leon. Sorry, I didn't see that and just messaged you there. Okay, so let's get on to the Hierophant then. Let's see. There we go. Yes. The Hierophant. So, any suggestions about this card? Oh, Miss Venus I didn't read that last comment where she says, this is also a very responsible person at work, very firm in their commitments. Yes, so again, so with that, the Emperor, that will probably also be someone who's very their schedule's set, you know? Their schedule's very set, and they, they're probably they probably don't cancel on plans. Their schedule's probably very set. They probably can recite it from the top of mind and things like that as well. So the stability can come like that as well. Just going to do my thank you to the members whilst I just wipe my nose here. Very sorry. Hello, Sarah. Hello and welcome. We are doing a tarot lesson at the moment. Very welcome to join us if you would like. We all have giving input into the meanings of the cards. So it's a very open to interpretation kind of lesson. Not just me talking at people, and we're all giving input. So Sarah or Anita, if you would like to join in on this, you can. But it's I do apologise. It's not a crystal ball today. It's a tarot, learning about the tarot. Hello and welcome. You guys are very, very welcome to join in. You're very welcome to join in and, refresh your mind on some tarot with us. But yes, or perhaps if this isn't your kind of thing, check my upcoming streams on my homepage, because I do a variety of readings. I do, crystal ball readings every week, aura reading, past life reading, starseed reading, palm reading, and all things like that. So if something like that would interest you more, then you are very welcome to check my upcoming streams and subscribe. But yes, this is tarot lesson today, so we're not doing questions today. Sorry about that. Okay, so Miss Venus says, represent the old structures, following rules, could represent the literal church, a community, a religious commitment, like marriage ceremony. And Jan says, negative could be someone who is very set in their ways. And Miss Venus says, worship. Yes, so there's definitely a very traditional component to this card. The Hierophant to me is very, very wise person, and yes, the wisdom is very old knowledge. Very wisdom and old things, old teaching. So traditional is the kind of key thing that's standing out to me about what you guys are saying there, because I do really feel that. And there's also I really feel this energy of like occult teachings as well. Like, yes, there's religion, there's definitely religion can be a part of that and involved in that, but I sometimes feel with this card as well, occult knowledge, occulted knowledge on the whole, encompassing some religion, perhaps some philosophy and other things like that, but definitely traditional, and definitely a wise kind of energy with definitely with a higher power and higher energy connection. So like religion or like spirituality, if you wanted to look at them as it would be like spirituality, but not a new age kind of thing. It would be like traditional occulted order, like perhaps an order that goes back a long time, an occult order or something like that, or yes, a religion. Yeah, Sarah, we're all learning here. I I'm refreshing my memory because I do not use the traditional tarot anymore. So I'm learning just as much as anybody else. Actually, I think these guys are a bit more brushed up on tarot than I am. So any stage is welcome, whether you've never looked at tarot before or whether you are a master at it. Absolutely welcome. Jan says, not even really negative, but reverse could be needing to break traditions. Yes. Rebellious and non-conformist. Yes, in reverse, it could be like someone who is, yeah, like, you know, they could have like a religious upbringing and they could rarely rebel against it, not for the fact that they just genuinely don't believe in it, but for the rebellion aspect of it. Yes, you could say that. Belief systems, basically societal systems. Sarah says, so would that be the light and dark of one person, the two men, what is on their robes? Yeah, you could even interpret the other people in the card. The robes are on one side we have roses, and on one side we have a different type of flower. So I don't know if it's kind of like lilies or something like that. But yes, we have the two sides. And there is the interesting thing about this card, and this is why I kind of do link it a little bit more to, you know, occulted knowledge, and kind of try to weave it into not just religion but some spiritual aspects and a bit of higher knowledge, is because there's a great balance in this card. So it's not rarely someone, yes, there's definitely tradition to it. It's definitely not, you know, brand new, like I said, new age, but there is balance. So it could be someone who has some very, you know, who is part of a very old tradition, old religion, old order, but likes to bring in some of the new as well. Because there is a balance in this card. So where Sarah's saying the light and dark, yes, absolutely, because there's a balance in it. So that's exactly right. So the Hierophant comes to us to connect us to the divine without losing the grounded place. So it's another one of those cards where we have, you know, we're seeing two elements in it, like the Emperor, like Miss Venus said, the fire and the earth. Here we have the earth and the heavens. So we have the earth and air, you could say, you know, the earthly beings and the spiritual aspect. You know, connecting to the divine without losing the grounded place. He is depicted as a religious figure with all the appropriate robes, but you can, you know, you don't have to stick to it just being religion, although that is very, yeah, that's very, you could say, quite spot on to say religion, but you can also look at it in other orders and other spiritual kind of aspects. But definitely a traditional sense and definitely an old wisdom, you know? Seated in a position of power, and there's two other figures between pillars. So the symmetry, that light and dark that Sarah mentioned there, giving us a sense of balance and also wholeness. And that's interesting as well, isn't it? The wholeness aspect, because why do people seek God and religion, you know? Because a lot of the time people do want that wholeness. People, you know, we're very earthbound here. We're very earthly. We can't really escape our earthly aspect. So we seek the spiritual aspects. So yeah, balance and wholeness as well. Getting that earth and spiritual balance. So I'm definitely, again, affirming what we are saying here, an old wisdom, that gives us a knowledge of our place in the world. So again, like the earthliness, whilst also showing us some deeper truths of the universe. So that spiritual aspect as well, or religious aspect, if you will. So tradition and legacy. Tradition and legacy as well. So when we pull this card, our awareness is brought to how we can use our past to influence the future. So again, that light and dark, that balance of the two opposites. How we can use our past to influence our future, because the traditions, the legacies, everything that's passed on, handed down, yes, use the past to influence the future. So not so much about, a lot of people want to completely cut cords of the past, separate the past, release the past. It's really about not just releasing what you don't want from the past, but allowing all of the lessons of the past to benefit you in your future. So, so conventional wisdom, like religions, like traditional occult orders, perhaps, they are there and we can use them, and they can still help us move forward. So it's not really, this is why I do really like this card and why I don't see it as too much of a negative, because it's not about being stuck in the past. It's not about just sticking to an old religion and kind of, not, it's not about kind of being someone who, like, an outdated belief systems is not what we see here. It's not about being outdated, which is why I really like this card, because it recognizes the past. It recognizes those old religions, old philosophies maybe, that we learned from and that brought us to where we are, but it doesn't prevent us from looking forward. So there's still, like I said, this card probably wouldn't represent a New Age person or a New Age belief, but it could represent someone who has some traditional beliefs mixed in with some new, because it's still like living and breathing, letting knowledge be living and breathing. So it's not too much about, it's not the negative side of kind of dogmatic kind of religion, because we are allowing, improvement or forward motion. So it's not quite as negative as it might sound. Yeah, and it says here as well, while the card can be seen as traditional, it's more of a reminder to acknowledge the power in ancient knowledge. So it's not about that stuck in the past kind of energy. It's about acknowledging that there's power in the ancient knowledge, and there's power in what came before us and what, like, our ancestors learned, but we are moving forward. The Hierophant gives us a strong foundation to build our future on. So I actually really like the card and think it's quite positive. So it's kind of like the sense of things that aren't broken, don't fix them, but if there is something that's a bit broken with it, don't keep using it. Do add to things, but don't try to fix them if they're not broken. So Sarah says, oh no, sorry, I read that. Miss Venus, the pillars are like stony and old looking, but also solid and strong, like a temple. So old structures, yes. Dependable, power and knowledge, yes. And it's also a very earthly card, grounded, while also saying my message comes from above. Yes, that's exactly right. You guys are spot on with that. So yes, looking at it from the negative, if we because it's about balance between the old and new, you guys are right as well about if we drew it upside down or if we were intuitively drawn to it having a bit more of a negative connotation, then it would be about perhaps the rebellious side, non-conformist, and like I said earlier, not someone who might rebel against a religion not because they actually don't believe in it, but just because their parents did and their parents did and their parents did, and they just want to be rebellious, you know what I mean? So it's definitely about bringing in the old and new together instead of feeling like it has to be one or the other, which is really what I think spirituality should be. So that is why I like this card, and I do quite like this card. But yes, if it was upside down or we felt a negative connotation to it, it would be in balance. So it could be someone who's too kind of someone who is against old beliefs or even new beliefs for no reason. So people who hate the term like new age for no other reason other than, I don't know, it's new. I don't know, and it's like, I don't know, trendy, or you know, and people, and other than people who just hate religion just for the sake of whatever reason. So when it's upside down or when we have the negative side of it, it's imbalance. There's an imbalance there. And there could be an ungroundedness. So it could be someone whose head's too much kind of in the clouds, and things like that as well. An imbalance. Imbalance, not really allowing themselves to be grounded. And it's almost like having that ability to, you know, I always think about people who are like completely like atheist, and then people who are just so they believe something so much that nothing could change their mind. Well, one way or the other, you know, you can have an atheist who's like that and someone who's super religious or spiritual that's like that. Whereas it's good to be kind of in the middle and kind of accept that yes, there are some truths, but there's also some things that might change or that you should be open to being wrong about as well. And I saw an interesting one here. Miss Venus says, backwards could also be cultish. Yes. So when it's negative, when it's upside down, cultish as well. Yes. So the ungrounded in those belief systems, in that belief system, is it cultish? Yes, absolutely. Or that only one person can connect to the divine and you need to follow them blindly. Fixed and closed-minded, yes. So you guys are on the same kind of wavelength there. Being fixed and closed-minded, yeah, fixed and closed-minded would be a negative way. Order and balance would be a positive way. And then someone who thinks that you need to follow them blindly, of course, yes, negative way. So think about how you feel when the card is drawn, and think about, do you draw it upside down? Do you draw it the right way? So yeah, there's definitely room for negatives in this card, definitely. Yeah, so you guys have done really well with that one. That's one of my favourites there. So let's move on then. Okay, so the book brings up things, some kind of interesting things that, like, thought-provoking things that kind of asks. So I'm going to read this out, go over this, and see what you guys think, to see whether I should keep pointing out when these kind of things come up or not, how you feel about them. So, the Hierophant there, and then who did we have before the Hierophant? No, the High Priestess there. So we have, let me just see if I can grab the High Priestess because she's behind. No, I've moved myself. Nope, that's not. Ah. I need the Hierophant. There we go. Okay. So we have these two here. So the High Priestess and the Hierophant are the spiritual leaders who appear in the deck. While similarly while similar in their meanings, they have distinct messages and other different guidance. They both sit in positions of power between pillars and a temple, connected to the earth and the heavens. They are both crowned and draped in stately robes. The High Priestess brings heavenly knowledge down to earth, whereas the Hierophant connects our earthly beings to the heaven. She has pulled the moon down to earth, whereas he tries to lift us up to the skies. So what do you feel about that? Do you feel like that is... Yeah, I think I will bring up when it says things like that in there. I think that it's not too overly important, I suppose, but you know, there's integrating higher knowledge, even yeah, reading my notes here. Yeah, so I've put here, integrating higher knowledge for the High Priestess, even that channeled in a random way. So integrating higher knowledge, she brings the heavenly knowledge down, so she could be like a channeler, whereas the Hierophant lifts us up to the heavens, so that could be like astral projection. So I made a note that I found interesting about those there. Don't know if you guys find that interesting, but I did with that there. So our next card is the Lovers. Getting ready for bed. It's 20 past 12. Oh, okay. Okay. So I think I'm going to change the time next time. I may do a earlier or something like that, but I think that Miss Venus and Jan, you guys both were quite, okay, so earlier will be better for both of you. You guys have had a lot of input and, you know, given a lot of very, important points and really being interactive with it, so I do want you guys to stay on. I do want to make sure you guys can make the next one. So actually, what I will say, guys, should we leave it here for today and carry on, because I only made 11 planned for 11 because I didn't know how long we'd go. We've been 2.5 hours, so we will leave it for today then, and we'll begin with the Lovers next time, and I will plan it perhaps. I may do it 2 hours earlier, like I told Miss Venus I might do. So if you guys haven't left yet, would that be okay with you guys if we leave it here and then we all join in next time? Because I don't want to keep you guys up, but I do like you guys' input, so maybe if we do 2 hours earlier next time, and then it might be a bit better for you guys. Okay, great. Yeah, I didn't realise that we'd go for 2.5 hours with just those, but my intro was quite long, so yeah, that's great. Okay, so the next one we probably will do, I made you one, Jan, just before you go, are you EST? because, yeah, I'm just wondering whether to... I will plan it, but I definitely want you guys to join in next time because I really like the input, and I really want, when I do streams like this, I do want it to be more interactive. I don't really want to be just talking at people, otherwise I could just like make a video on it, and I appreciate the input as well, and I just think it's funner that way, so... Oh, CST, okay. Okay, wonderful. Well, I'll let you guys go since it's late for you guys, so love, light, and blessings to each of you, and I will definitely plan it for a time you guys can make, so I look forward to it. See you soon. Love, light, and blessings.